I wonder what stories this tree could tell as it stands here, the big broad oak. Let's go for a little walk. As you know, the story I've been telling you has been obviously about Dolly. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about what she had achieved in the last few months. It had been a wonderful weekend at home with her parents. We knew this. It had been enjoyable and she had had a fantastic time out. But now we were back to work. The same old drudgery and mundane lifestyle that the poor young lady had got used to. Of course, she had her boyfriend and she saw him as often as was possible, and they tried to go out and they tried to do things that were fun, and often they did. But the one thing that nobody else knew, upstairs anyway, was that Mrs. Doe and Mr. Doe, the cook and the butler, had grown more and more fond as time went on of Dolly. As I had said, they had wanted children of their own, but it just hadn't been. So it became clear that the cook would help Dolly out as much as she could and help her to improve her lifestyle and help her to have a bit more of a future. So Mrs. Doe took Dolly under her wing. She told her that every evening when she could, wherever possible, she would sit with young Dolly and teach her about being a cook. Now in them days, this was something a young girl could really use in later life. So Dolly lapped up all the information she could. She was never told by Mrs. Doe her reasoning for it until one night they sat at the table at the end of their lesson and having a cup of tea and a biscuit. Mrs. Doe said, "I need to tell you something, sweetie." "What's that?" said Dolly, because she could see that her friend, the cook, had a very, very serious look on her face. "Well, just recently," she said, I'd not been feeling well, my lovely, and I've been to the doctor. Cost us a pretty penny, you know, but shillings and shillings. But here's come up the idea that I've got a bad heart, my lovely, and, well, I'm not getting any younger, and nor is Mrs. Doe, who we all know is the butler, and I've decided that I'm soon to move on. Well, we've saved a little bit of retirement money, and there's a little cottage we've seen. Yes, it needs a lot of doing up. And yeah, of course, we also need to make a decision on how we can make money. Perhaps when our little bit of money runs out, maybe we can get a lodger. Well, I've been thinking, my lovely, over these months, you and your young man, you've been getting on so well, and I think maybe you may be married and maybe have a family. And, well, I've been thinking that me and Mr. Doe need to retire very, very soon. And, well, what I'm saying, Dolly, is if we make a decision to retire, would you be up for taking on the cook's job and maybe taking on the little house, the little cottage that we live in now? Dolly sat dumbfounded. She really didn't know what to say. This is just tremendous. I can't believe it, she said. This is just something any young girl would be proud to take on. "Oh, don't answer now," said Mrs. Doe. "You get away up to bed now and sleep on it, my love, and let me know in the morning when you come in for your breakfast." So Dolly went off. Imagine it. The cottage, a good job, she could be made for life. What would her beau say when she told him? She went to bed thinking about all the possibilities, but she also realised the sad fact was that two of her greatest friends that she'd been there these few years had been the cook and had been the butler. They had treated her like family. Well, actually, they treated everybody like family. They were very, very lucky to have the people they did work for them and with them. She laid down and put her head on the pillow and slept. Her dreams were sweet that night. She dreamt of walking out, of picking the old-fashioned violets at the side of the road as they grow wild, and she dreamt about picking a posy and returning them to the cook with a smile on her face, and was greeted with a hug. She knew that she'd have to think about it even in her dreams, and she was. In her dreams she was cooking, she was making stews and pies, she was making all kinds of sweet treats, jello being one of them, or jelly, however you like to say. Fruit jelly, lime jelly, lemon jelly. She loved the stuff, and she dreamt about it and dreamt about making it. The morning came round all too quickly, and up she got and started her chores. She had a few bits to do before she was able to go downstairs and get breakfast. Breakfast, as usual, was served in the servants' hall. She enjoyed every minute of it in there with her friends, and she kept looking at the cook and thinking to herself, oh, I've got to tell her, I've just got to tell her. After a while everybody left to go on to their duties, and she herself, that's Dolly, went to the kitchen. Before I go upstairs to help the mistress, I've got a few minutes. I would like to take up your offer, but I don't want to lose you. I don't want you to move away. You've been like a second parents to me, you and your husband. It's okay, said the cook. We won't forget you, my love. You can come and stay if you get any time off, well, that you're not spending with your beau or your boyfriend. We would adore the chance to have you over. And of course, when you get married, well, if you do, we want to be there, my lovely. We want to be there with you. To see you get married, you got no worry about losing us. I'm also worried about the medical facts that you said. You said that you were poorly and that, you know, I'm worried. Don't be worried, my love. We've got everything sorted. If I rest up, get rid of some of this stress at my age, I'll be a whole lot better. So now Dolly knew that maybe her future would be mapped out a bit better, but the truth is, would it be? Would she have a better chance? Would the people of the house accept her? Yes, she'd been there a number of years. The other thing was, she's got to make sure as well that her beau was up for it. Would there be a job for him? Could they put him forward? Or Dragonfly? Oh, he's going too fast. Don't think we can see him. Sorry, girls, change the subject. Would they have a chance? Would they be able to live together as husband and wife? Be married, be happy, maybe have a family? Well, that's something she would have to talk to him about. And on their next time together, she managed to broach the subject. He looked at her and said, well, I've been meaning to ask you something, Dolly, but I didn't like to kind of say it, you know, what with one thing and another. And he sat there and took her hands in his across the small table where they sat at a little corner cafe. I wondered if it would be okay, she said, if, and before she could say any more, he said, Dolly, will you consent to be my wife? I ain't got a ring yet, I ain't had enough money, but I've been thinking about it for months. She sat there really quietly. She could feel the tears of happiness welling up behind her eyes, and at last she said, yes, my darling, yes, I would love to be your wife. So there they were, over a cup of tea, proclaiming their love for each other and their everlasting need to be together as a couple. How wonderful, she thought. Possibly a new job and a new husband. Who could moan at that? That is wonderful. So now we'll leave her. Let her enjoy her cup of coffee, tea should I say, and let her just enjoy her moment with her beau. Until the next time, people, goodbye.